uh, let you guys get in here, but not only get in here for the live to catch up. Earlier this morning, I did a live on jealousy, and I want to kind of hone this particular live into webcam models, and specifically for my webcam models as it relates to comparing yourselves to other models, that part, right? I don't think I've ever sat and talked and did an absolute topic on this one, but I wanted to talk from the place and space of being a person who possibly enjoys being humiliated. What am I talking about, really? In the world of webcam modeling, again, for those that don't know, my name is Jelena Nails. I've been in the webcam modeling industry for over 21 years, or for 21 years now. And I was moved this morning to just talk about it from a place of, again, comparing yourself, whether you're in the industry or not, and how it leaves you stuck and it puts you in a place when you're just not satisfied with what you got going on in your own life. But now I want to speak it from a place of webcam models who might go over and check out the other webcam models, and you feel some kind of way. And this is applied to even real life, right? That when we get to scrolling, and seeing how everybody else is living their life, not to mention that most of this stuff is fabricated, and it's not to, or could be, I won't say most of it is actually, because I don't know, but it could possibly be fabricated. But yet, when the brain wants what it wants, is the best way I can say it. So this live is specifically, again, for my webcam models. If you guys take from it from those that are not in the business, that's great too. But it's, again, I wanted to put emphasis here is that you have to, it's okay to go over and look at the ladies, right? And get a mode of inspiration, right? It's okay to scroll and get inspiration and an inspired thought and an idea or motivation for that matter. In fact, I've been in the business for so long, but guess what? I will go over and look at other webcam models, not other webcam teachers, but other webcam models for inspiration. I look for energy when I'm watching. I'm not looking at what she's wearing. I'm not looking at her style of webcamming, because I know I have my own thing going on. I'm confident in who I am in the industry as Jelena Nails. But what I am looking for is to see how busy it is. See if, in other words, if all of us are sitting there scrolling on our phones, then I'm assuming that every single one of us are feeling bored, or or whatever the case is. There's also a good time if I go on and I see other women that are not really energetic, and they're kind of just, let's just say it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon, right? And people are usually out and about doing things, and it's not in the wee hours of the night. So, or early mornings, or it's not the weekend, but let's say a random Wednesday, and you are on at 2 p.m. This is still the middle of the work week, and you're looking at other women, right? And you're going, oh my gosh, she looks like she's bored, or they look like they're bored. This is the time, in my opinion, where if you watch everybody else, then this is when you want to say, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to make my show so exciting, and you don't have to be extreme about it, but I'm going to do something so different to where I'm going to captivate the guys coming in, because obviously, and this is the only time when I compare, or can compare, is when I say, okay, everybody looks like they're not having a good old time. And so I'm gonna come over here and do something different. And do you know, every time when a man comes to my shows around those times, they're like, I was just scrolling through, bored, and I needed to see something different, and I landed with you. Because I know it works. But let's just get back into, thank you guys so much for the love. But let's get into comparison and why you compare. And again, this is applied to anybody that may need to hear this. Why comparison can feel so addictive. Let's talk about it, you guys, from a webcam model standpoint, and let's talk about cuckold. Like I mentioned way earlier, for those that are not familiar, what a cuckold is, a cuckold situation, relationship, whatever it is a man, woman, partner, person who enjoys being humiliated, who enjoys comparing themselves to the other person that their woman, girlfriend, partner is attracted to, or that wants. In the world of webcam modeling, or the industry period, the role play, in fact, I like to think I'm pretty good at it, y'all, is where a man will come on and says, hey, I really, I'm a worthless piece of doo doo, is what he would. I'm just using that, and then he would go into saying, and I would say, well, whatever makes you that way, why do you? Because every cuckold is different. Not no two cuckolds is the same. Okay, y'all remember that in the world of webcamming. you may think that the foundation is the same, but once you get over into role play, once you get over into fetishes, it changes because everybody, just in other words, just because people like feet, there are so many different types of feet out there. Let me just say that. So getting back into this right here on this, I was about to say Freaky Friday. No, but as it relates to, again, comparing yourself. So I'm sorry, not comparing yourself, humiliation. So for those that are not in the business of webcam modeling, you may be scrolling on your phone 30 minutes in and you may have a question and you may be going, oh my God, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep going back to her page or his page or their page? And I don't even like them ill. And you're doing all that. If you be honest with yourself, okay, do you like it? Something about it is feeding you. Something about it is turning you on. So psychologically, you may not be very, I'm not saying turning you on in the true sense. You may not be ready to, you know, rub one out for the situation, but something is feeding your dopamine to sit there and watch them and get off and say, oh my God, they think they're all that, or I wish I had a car like that, or I wish I looked like that, I wish I was shaped like that, I wish. And then you get into, oh no. Now what's interesting about this, as many times as I did Coco, and I see you guys' comments, I'll come back through in a minute. Remember, they disappear. But as many times as I've seen people's comments, as many times as I've done Coco role play, right? There are different variations of the style. And what I mean is that there could be a man who doesn't have a girlfriend, he doesn't have a wife, and this is all in fantasy. He only wishes and hopes for that this would happen, or this is type of relationship he would be in. Then there are those that actually and factually have a girlfriend, have a wife, have a partner, have a person, and simply will tell me, yes, she just walked out of the door tonight with Larry, and her and Larry, I know she's going to go see Larry. And I have to ask, well, does that make you jealous? How does that make you feel? And then he gets into comparing himself, and he says, well, I allow her, if you will, to do it because why? Larry's bigger than me. And again, keep in mind, you guys, this is from a webcam model point of view, so I'm going to say it from the framework of the adult entertainment field. So in this role play, he's going to say this, and the key is this: regular people, regular degular people are doing this without them even knowing it, is what I'm saying, right? So Joe Blow is like, yeah, she went out with Larry, and Larry just, I know he's bigger than me, because that's where it usually comes from. He's more attractive. He's this, he's that. He has more money than me. Whatever he's into, or whatever he thinks that makes him inadequate, he starts talking about how much Larry has. Now, what's interesting about this role play, in this role play, Blojo wants me to reassure him that he's not as good. His baloney is not as big. He is inadequate. He is literally coming up short, right? Heavy on all of that. Not even cam girl humor. He really is. And so he wants that confirmation on that, right? And so with that being said, within that role play, he likes feeling below the belt. He likes feeling humiliated. He gets off on it. He knows he's worthless. He knows that about himself. However, in the real life of regular people, right? So you're sitting up there and you're scrolling, and yet you keep looking and you keep looking and you keep scrolling and you keep comparing and you keep comparing. That's the whole point. And you keep comparing. You got to ask yourself, what am I getting out of this? What am I getting out of this? Does this make me feel good? Because if you think about it from a psychological standpoint, and or of course, just a little bit of sexual education in this regard, there is the thing where people get pleasure out of pain. If we're being honest, do you get pleasure when you're sitting there and you go through that phase of looking at what Susie got going on? And this is going and drawing it back to my webcam models. And we should know this, whether you're beginning in the business or not. I'm telling you, this is exactly the nature of the business. So we should be the last people on earth comparing ourselves to others, because we literally have our jobs where we speak to, because like some cam models believe we are some kind of therapist. So we're able to hear where people's insecurities are, be it role play or not. We're able to hear what people really feel about. In fact, if I go here, I don't want to pull the R card, but a lot of times, in possible cuckold situations, race does play a part in it. If we know what that is, y'all, the big BBC, right? So I say all that to say, because I don't want to go there, not in this video or this live. I really want to put emphasis here back to comparing yourselves to others. both for webcam models and for those that are not in the industry. What is it that you're getting out of it? You know, what is it that you're getting out of it? Is it because when it comes to comparison, and I'm going to look at my chat GBT, comparison isn't always about jealousy, because there are some men that they love that humiliation tactic. They love it. They love the role play, and they're not jealous. They have come to the conclusion that I can never compare. What do they say? There's no competition where you don't compare. So even for me as a woman who's been in this industry for 21 years, I don't compare, and never, when I was younger, never compared myself to others. And I think because I have that attitude outside of even the business, I always knew I was unique. I always, that comes from the pretty girl, or pretty, how pretty do you have to be paid, video that I did. Because what it really boils down to is that embracing yourself. But how can you embrace yourself and admire your own uniqueness when you're steadily, literally looking at what somebody else has going on? Now, the interesting thing about being these men being a cuckold, I get paid, we get paid. They want you to compare. They want you to put them in their place because they know that there is no competition. That is literally what they will tell you. And what I love about this industry too, you don't have to guess, or you can ask if you want to, but these men will tell you what they're into. People will tell you what they're into, just generally speaking, right? If you listen to them long enough, right? So, with that being said, I had my coffee, y'all. So, with that being said, sometimes it's insecurity is when we compare ourselves. Sometimes it's curiosity, right? When we compare ourselves, I'd like to think that I stay in the curiosity lane. If I do compare, it's because I'm curious. I wonder how they do their hair like that. Well, how did they get their eyelashes to get so? I wonder. That is so interesting. And you know why I can be in that spirit of it the more so? Because people are that way about me. I've had more people curious about my nails than jealous about them. Does that make sense? I've had more people be curious about what I got going on than them actually look or admiring it or looking at me from in other words, I've had women tell me, oh my God, you're in it. Just yesterday, I was sitting on the bus, riding, coming back from the beauty supply. I have to do my haul for you guys. But anyway, I was coming back, and a lady sitting next to me on the bus. Now, this is a sidebar, but let me just tell you how I think, y'all, especially regarding my nails. But anyway, so I'm on the bus. There's been times where men will get on the bus or people will get on the bus, and I notice them noticing my nails, or I can kind of sense what will happen, and I'll hide my hand. This has just been recently, because the truth is sometimes I don't feel like being bothered. Okay, let me just make that plain English. But so this lady, she sits next to me. I don't know if you know on buses, because I don't drive anymore, but the seat that was in front of me, out of all the seats, yeah, y'all, I'm going there. Out of all the seats that was there, I don't understand why she decided to sit right next to me, squeeze herself right next to me with all of them bags. I mean, she was dressed nicely or whatever, in all white. Now, mind you, I had my little basket with me to carry all my goodies in it, right? And what I didn't want is to bump up against her all white with my basket, because the wheels are dirty and icky. And I was thinking to myself, why didn't she think that she didn't want to? Why is she sitting next to me, right? With all these seats, that's all I could think of. And I wasn't mad. It just didn't make no logic sense to me. And I'm usually not in that. Why? And you got on all white. Wouldn't you want to sit where you won't get dirty, or anywho? So I look at her. This is back to my nails. I look at her and I say to her. So I decide, let me get up, since I didn't have as many bags as her. So I get up and I tell her, let's do tradesies. Right. So I say, you sit on this side. I tell her, you sit on this side and I'll sit on this side. And I said, that makes more sense, huh? And she goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I guess she was, I don't know, embarrassed maybe, because I'm not in the one to trying to make somebody feel bad because they didn't think like how I thought they ought to. So she said, oh, yeah, yeah, that does make sense. And so we sat there, and then I noticed that she was looking me up and down, y'all. And I said, please don't say nothing to me. And so I kind of almost tried to hide my hand. And then she said, oh my God, your nails. I seen a woman on Guinness World Records? And I said, yes, Yanni, because I follow her. We follow each other. I wouldn't say we're besties, but we definitely did more than a few DMs, y'all, and conversations. For those that know. And she said, oh my God, I seen her. I said, yes, I'm familiar. And she said, I always wanted to. She said, I always wanted to know. And I'll get back to the topic, y'all. But she was like, I've always wanted to know. She goes, I've seen it so many times. I've never seen it up close and personal. She goes, and those are yours, huh? And I said, yes, they are. And she goes, oh my God, what I love about this woman, y'all, I'm just saying she didn't ask to touch him, because a lot of people do, which I think is rude, but she didn't ask to touch him. She didn't ask to do anything. She just was so taken back. And this is what kind of shocked me, was that she said, I had been looking at it for years and looking around, and I just never met anybody. And so she got overly happy to know, like, I guess her wish came true. And here I was in a kind of funky mood. I'm just saying, yeah, I was just ready to get back home. I was so tired. It was so freaking hot yesterday. But my point is this. In that moment, she wasn't comparing. She wasn't saying, oh, I want to. She didn't say, I wish I could wear them to anything. She was simply admirable about my nails. You get me? And so there was no love lost. There was no hatred there. There was no hidden agenda or anything like that. But yeah, so I say all that to say, regarding comparison, um, yeah, I look at situations where, if it's me on the other end, to I'm curious about it. That's what feeds me. That woman was curious about a woman with long nails, and laws of attraction handed her curiosity, right? And so that was a blessing. Now, moving forward, you guys, let's get back to the topic. And thanks for those that are still here with me as I go on as I was going through that little rant. All right, so where are we at? Why our brains keep doing it? Okay. And it's like we're constantly trying to figure out where we fit in. That could be it too. We measure ourselves against others to feel safe, successful, attractive, or accepted, right? That's exactly why we compare over and over and over again. And it goes into say, getting help from Stacy, my chat GBT, the addictive cycle. You scroll, you compare, you feel inadequate, you scroll more looking for an answer, you repeat. That's the cycle. Now, if we think about it from a cuckold perspective, we can say the same thing. He scrolls, and he may not scroll online, but scrolling simply means looking, and you keep watching and looking, I guess, and like a scroll would be, like a long thing, over and over and over. It's a long, lengthy thing of what you're looking at, right? That's the best way I can describe it. So here this man is, right? He's scrolling in life, looking at other men, right? Comparing himself to other men, watching his woman when she goes out with them at a bar, right? Looking at her, watching her behavior, watching their behavior with him, all of that stuff. Then he compares himself sitting there at the bar. I could never be just like Chad, or I could never be like this guy. I wish I was built like him. I wish I wasn't as scrawny, whatever his comparison mind goes into. And then he begins to feel inadequate, right? Then he starts saying, damn, I'll just never measure up. I just will never measure up. Then he scrolls some more. He looks around some more. Mind you, he's with his girlfriend, with his wife. They go back home. They might role play or play it out, or he'll jump on to see webcam models, obviously. And then they will repeat that cycle. They'll go out again next weekend. He'll go through the same changes, right? Over and over again. I would want to take a deep dive and ask, watch this, y'all, the addictive cycle. When then in these steps does it start to feel good? Is it the scrolling part that feels good to the cuckold, or to you, or to the person who's comparing? Does the comparing itself, does it kick in then? Is that when it starts to feel good? Does it start to feel good when you begin to feel inadequate? Does it start to feel good when you scroll and look for more answers? When does it start? I'm really studying this as I'm speaking this out loud, you guys. I'm trying to figure out, when would it start feeling good to the cuckold? That's the best comparison or example I can use. I would imagine, let me think of what I know, y'all. I would think that it would start feeling good to the cuckold. And y'all can answer in the chat since we're here. At what stage do you think it might start feeling good, when you scroll, or when the cuckold starts scrolling, or the addictive cycle begins? At what point makes them continue to go back? Something is feeding it. Is it the scrolling? Is it the looking across the room, seeing what other people have and that you don't? Again, the comparing. Is it the feel? Do you begin to feel inadequate? A part of my spirit wants to say it's the part of inadequacy. If we look at pain and pleasure, if we look at it from I would say, what's it called? Submission, domination point of view, right? That part. I would say people are turned on for the feeling of inadequacy. I'll go deeper. What about those that role play? I've been a bad, bad, bad girl, right? I'm gonna just use that frame for a minute. I've been such a bad, naughty, naughty girl. What are people really saying when they say that? I've been a bad boy, right? That's supposed to be a place of feeling bad, feeling like you deserve a spanking, you deserve being to be treated unworthy. There's an inadequacy there. There's this exchange of power. I think that's somewhere in here. It should be, right? That person feels more powerful than you. When I think about cuckold as it relates to RACE, when we bring race into the picture, a lot of men are attracted to the BLK man because they see them as powerful. Or if we talk about gender, then we're looking at it from a place of where you got the role play of what's it called? You got the role play of gigantus fetish, or this is the role play where men like women who are muscular or apparently stronger than them. So it has to be a place where you feel more powerful, or they feel more powerful than you do. So intimidation, inadequacy, you know. As I'm going through this, you guys, I'm really taking a deep dive as I speak this out loud. Um, and receiving these downloads, as they call it, because this is an interesting. I mean, I was like, okay, yeah, I can compare it to it, because it really, really makes me question. You have to ask yourself, what do you get off from it? If it's not feeding you, if it's not giving you what you need, if you're jealous, and then again, we're talking about comparison. We're not having even gone over to jealousy, because remember, in the world of cuckold, some of these men are not jealous. I've heard some say that they are, but majority of cuckolds are not jealous. It's almost like they've given up. It's almost like they're like, you know what? I'll never be like him. I'll never be them. I'll never be as big. I'll never be as tall. I'll never be, be able to. And their main theme is I'll never be able to please her. Of course, because they're comparing themselves to their already girlfriend in many cases. They're like, I'll never be able to please her. I'll never be able to. And of course, the story of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett and August Alsina always comes to mind. When that situation first popped off, y'all, when that situation first started, I literally thought to myself, this is nothing more than a cuckold. I know I was one of the first persons that could call it for what it was. And then later on, people started catching on. But I can guarantee you, I was one of the ones who just really, by the time it hit, let's just say mainstream social media, I don't know, and everybody was listening at it, and the what's it called? What did she say she had? An entanglement and all that stuff. By the time it came out, I mean, even before then, I said, I know what this is. So I say all that to say the feeling of inadequate, the feeling like, and keep in mind, as if we're thinking about Will Smith, if you will, I would imagine that he's not insecure in the sense of his own capabilities and what he brings to the table, right? Let's just say that's the case. Um, a lot of these cuckolds doesn't mean that they're weak in other areas. Let me put it that way. So and in the world of role play, it is role play. In other words, I've had I've had some men, and I know I'm not the only webcam model who can do this role play, and then you turn on that camera and you look at them and go, why are you inadequate? Where? Like what? Like why does this turn you on? Right? So anywho, back to regular folks that may be listening. So you're scrolling, you're looking, you're comparing. When does jealousy then kick in? What when because I think you're getting off on it in these moments, right? All that stuff you have to be. But when exactly does jealousy kick in? Let me think about that for a minute, y'all. Um, I really have to think about it, because again, I'm not one to be jealous, so I have to really try to figure out logically where could it just fall. And again, I can't help but to go back to that list, right? That scroll, compare, feel inadequate, scroll more, looking for an answer, and repeat. I guess the jealousy might kick in when you repeat it. Because I'm thinking if it, it's so true as it relates to universal law. If you seek out something, you shall find it. So it says right here, scroll more looking for an answer. What answer are people looking for when they scroll? What questions do they ask? Why is this person prettier than me? How can I be pretty like that? How can I be like that to my webcam models? Again, how can I be as pretty as her? How can I get as much money as she making? And the truth is, don't nobody really, really, really know unless they're sharing it online of exactly what people are making. And we all know by now people can, you know, make up stuff, pretend, lie, just straight out lie. All, you know what I'm saying? They can do all those things. This is why I said, even for me in the business, I never really cared about the numbers. I could care less, and that's why I have my Cam Girls on a Budget series, because it is real over here. It's real over here at the end of the day, and I'm okay with being in my lane. Let me put it that way, right? Like the little haul that I'm going to show you guys in that kind of way. In fact, I was thinking the other day, what if I get to the point where I make more than what I deem to be cam models on the budget? Let me explain to you guys what that means. Okay, so when I went into Victoria's Secrets and Bath and Body, I had $100, right? I could afford that with which I got barely almost with. I'm like, damn, they're kind of pricey too. Right? So when I went in there, I could afford that. But when I went into the Louis Vuitton store in the mall, well, I didn't walk out there with anything. You get what I'm saying? But when we reach a certain level, then how, in other words, will my Cam Girls on a Budget become out of reach for some people? Because I like the idea of staying right where I'm at and being able to be, number one, relatable to others. I don't ever want to be where I'm just so above it. I'm so above that now, right? Because we all have to start out somewhere. So just because of the love of the business that I'm in and the love of what I do, I don't ever want to get beside myself, right? In other words, I can still do the Cam Girls on a Budget, even if my money's increased. I just got to put emphasis there, right? And so, in fact, I was looking for makeup, and I'm like, the only thing I think I want to start investing in more is makeup, as it relates to foundation, not necessarily eyeliner, lipstick. I still don't mind going to CVS or what's it called, Walgreens and things of that nature, drugstore makeup. But I do want to try out some high end foundation, or at least some clinical foundation. I think Clinique is one of them that I want to kind of start investing in, because I have sensitive skin, because I have high allergy, right? So it's like for health reasons, right? Not just because it's MAC makeup or whatever, whatever. So anyway, so again, um, when you are on social media, for those that are my regular people, and you are comparing yourself, right? You are looking at somebody else's body, you're looking at their money, you're looking at their followers, for those that do content as well, you're looking at their relationship, you're looking at their whole lifestyle, you know? And before long, you're measuring your life against a highlight or a reel, right? We know that to be true. And that's not for me to sound too catchy, because I know a lot of people do topics on, you know, influencers and people not really making money like that and doing. That's not what my goal is here. My goal was to take it from a cam model's point of view. It's not about the money, right? And look at you comparing yourself to whatever level you're at. As I said in the other live that I was on, I will never compare myself or go over to even get inspiration from other webcam models that teach or give webcam modeling tips. And it's not because I'm so cocky and arrogant and think I've arrived. It's just for the simple fact that I know where to get my inspiration from. I can still get inspired by a newbie cam model, right? I can still go in and see someone just now starting out and look at her and go, "Oh my God, I've been in this business for 21 years, but she's excited." I love it when my younger folks or my newbies in the business come in with excitement, and because that feeds my excitement. It's like, "Oh my God, I'm not just running my mouth." They do like what I have to say, and they are catching and learning in one form or fashion. And that just ignites me. It really does. It brings a joy to my spirit, because I know I'm not just doing it for me. Otherwise, it'd be doing it in vain, right? In vanity. So, but when I think about other teachers, I don't go, I think I used to when I first started out, but because I know I'm a different type of teacher, I don't even do my interface the same. I don't do that. I usually do my screen recording. I would like to believe I was one of the first. I was a little nervous about choosing to, record and do a screen recording where you guys see the interface of where I actually work for StreamMate. I was a little nervous about that, but I said, but I like this style. I liked it. I like it. I like logging in, right? I like logging in. I feel like it's a double blessing. I like logging in and doing a screen recording right before I log in and you guys see the background. I like saying, hey guys, look, I just got out of a private. I like recording the countdown that I just got out of a private to show you guys in real time, even though it's pre-recorded or screen recorded, but to show you. And I feel like to me that makes, I feel like I'm interacting. I feel like that's more interactive than me actually being live right now. I feel like when you guys are able to actually see, because maybe I'm a visual person like that, being able to see, okay, this is what she does, because then it takes you away from, oh, I wonder how much money does Jay make, to, oh, this is how she shows up. This is how she is. This is what she's feeling. This is what happened. This is da-da-da. It becomes that, like a conversation more so than just, oh, this is how you get the bag. This is how you get it. And I've been in this so long. There's been many different types of ways I've taught. Does that make sense? Like some days I've taught from a mother perspective, leaning in more to single mothers because I was a single mom raising 3 children on my own while being in this business. Now I'm a granny. All my children are grown, still in this business. So I say all that to say, and again, I think I survive and haven't burned out from the business is because I don't compare myself to anybody else. I don't compare myself to nobody else. I think I often say this. I think I got about 15 biological sisters, all the same mother, different dads. It is what it is, right? And guess what? I think I'm the only Aquarius. I'm not sure. I think I am though. I'm the only one that wear long fingernails. I think I'm the only one with cheek piercing steel. My baby sister had them and then she took them out, but just little stuff like that, right? So I don't compare myself. I have lived a life where I don't compare myself because it doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't get you to where you're trying to get to. It wastes time. But again, if you are getting off on it, then it feels good to you, right? It feels really, really good to you. So I wanted to come here and say that you guys wanted to talk about it, comparing yourself. Don't do it, webcam model. Don't do it. If you're going to go and watch other webcam models, and I've always said this, even when I mentored, I would always say this is your homework. This is your homework. Go and look at 5 other models, if you can stand it, 3 to 5 different models. Go there to get some inspiration, see how she's decorated, see how she's sitting, because there's different types of models, even though the nature of the business is equally the same across the board. Even for me, remember, 98% of my shows are non-new, but it ain't because I ain't never, I'm just saying, it ain't because I ain't never, it ain't because I won't ever, it's just because that's just what it is for me. It's just not as often. But my point is that you get those 5 models and you look and you see, and mind you, they may have a bad day, because I know if you guys went and tuned in to me, I'm sure some of y'all have seen me live and like, is this what she does? Is this what because some days I'm what did I tell you guys? There's days that I've been here, I've been online, and I physically have shown up, but my presence is gone. Remember that, you guys? We talked about that last week of how I'm like, man, what is going on with me? Like, I just haven't been feeling it. I'm logging in, but I hadn't been feeling it. Wasn't burned out, but because I'm like, oh, wow. Like I said before, I might have gotten lazy. That happens too. I'd be looking at some of the guys that come through and I'd be like, I know what he wants. I could see it in the title name. I already know. Do I really feel like playing this role right now? I'm telling the truth. There are moments, there have been times. And so therefore I cannot complain about the money that I didn't reach or the goal you didn't reach when you won't do the work. Can I say it again? If y'all don't hear nothing else I'm saying, you cannot complain. You can compare, but don't complain. Okay? If you're going to compare, don't complain, because you have not, or you're not willing to do the work. Now, the interesting thing about the industry and doing the role play of a cuckold, or that men do that, is because it it gets kind of funny, y'all. So forgive me, cam girl humor warning is that these men, again, they know they're inadequate in the fantasy play. They know they're inadequate, so it becomes really, really strange. Hi, I see all of you guys. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for the subscription. I see you. Hello, hello, hello. But and thank you for the love, y'all. So when you talk about cuckold or whatever, as I was saying, these men know they're inadequate. That's the whole theme of the whatever. And regarding the work, what work? And that's why I laugh, because if you look at it from a cuckold standpoint, the work would be that this man, number one, he would have to either physically work out to keep up with the stamina to satisfy his woman. That would be the work. He either don't want to do the work, or he feels like it doesn't matter how much work he's done, he would never be like the guy she's going to go sleep with on that Saturday night. So they give up. They say, you know what, screw it. She's going to go be with Chad. She's going to go be with John. I'm sitting here all alone, a goddess. I feel like crap, as I should. And that's what turns them on, right, y'all? That's what turns them on. So the question it was earlier, for those that are just now jumping on, when you're comparing yourself on a psychological note, and you're scrolling for 30 minutes online and you're watching other, whether it's webcam models, whether it's other people, what is it that's turning you on? Because there's something that's feeding you. There's something that's feeding you. There's something that you're getting off on of why you feel like you're inadequate, you're less than, right? It has to be. You have to be a little bit, what's the word called? Sadomasochist, or a masochist a little bit, right? To feel such pain. Isn't it painful when you scroll and you look at people and you think to yourself, oh my God, I will never be like that. If you absolutely like that feeling, then stick with it, right? As long as you're not hurting nobody, because it's not like the cuckolds are like, you know what, I'm going to go set him up and I'm going to, beat him up when I see him. No. They're like, you know what, hey, he's much better than me. That's what she wants. I'll continue to, pay the bills. I'll continue to do what it is that I do. I mean, hey, it is what it is, yada, yada, yada. And then he'll go and what I love it, just as a sidebar, being a woman in this industry, not only as he getting turned on because of that woman dogging him, some might say dogging him out, that woman doing it and he's getting it off. He likes the idea of coming to us as webcam models and we reiterate it all over again. we make him feel the pain all over again. And he likes it. He really, really likes it. Gets off on it. You get in a private with these types. I'm just saying they will be there for a long, long time, because you just, with them, I notice I just really got to turn on my imagination button and let my imagination run wild. Oh man, the stories I could tell, but I have to, remember where I'm at. This is why I was thinking about getting me on OnlyFans, because I'm like, once again, when I think about my story times in and outside this business, just for the naughty stuff alone, they get interesting, right? They get very, very interesting. And again, I like to use these platforms from a teaching point of view, like teaching moments versus, I don't really want anybody, getting quote unquote excited. And I'm not getting paid. I'm just saying. But anyway, no, and the money doesn't matter to me, but I do want a little something. I do want some pocket change. So anywho, but again, when we compare ourselves in a webcam model, don't do it. The fact that you're in the business, it speaks volumes. That already is giving you your uniqueness. You're a webcam model. That alone should make you feel like, you know what? And with pride, that's exactly what I mean with pride. I'm a webcam model. I'm this type of webcam model, right? So you can compare yourself. Like for instance, when we think about feet, there's so many different types of feet. There's so many different types of feet. There's so many different types of foot lovers. There's so many different types. It may look the same, but look a little bit closer. No two people like the same things exactly the same. And even though people say, no, that's not true, because if you get to talking to people like, I like vanilla ice cream, then another person's, yeah, I like vanilla ice cream. Well, how do you like your vanilla ice cream? And by the time you finish that conversation, you may find that there's differences in that liking. You understand what I'm saying? Then there's vanilla, there's soft serve vanilla, there's what's it called? Natural vanilla. There is what's that one called? I forget what it's called. It's so many different types of damn vanilla, y'all. That's what I'm saying. So again, you don't want to do that unless it's turning you on. Oh, I wish I could hear a regular person say to me, I really get off on just sitting there and looking at other people's content and wishing that I was there and wishing I had it like that. I really, really get it. Turns me on. I don't know what it is. I just, this self-loathing just really, oh, so, and that's the part again, I would say, well, maybe you're into masochism. It's okay. I mean, people are into what they're into. But the only place what you don't want to do is hurt yourself or hurt someone else. Period, point blank. And again, that leaves us over into the bucket of jealousy. You can compare all day long, don't complain. You can compare all day long and just sit in that, okay? You like humiliation, we get it. But now don't get angry. Because I even tell my guys, I'd be like, so how does that make you feel? Like a typical quote unquote therapist. And how does that make you feel, Joe Blow? Well, I feel like a piece of shit. Well, good. Well, good, because that's what he wants, right? But how does that really, really make you feel? Do you feel like hurting them? Do you feel like, that you now want to, whatever the case is, right? And that becomes, of course, that becomes a problem. So what am I really saying? There really is no issue with comparing yourself to others. It really isn't at its first surface level, right? Because we do it all the time. How the hell do you think we get what we get in life without some sense of comparing? You know, if I look at my life and go, okay, I'll give an example because I always use my nails because I think that's a great example. If I'm looking at somebody else who has long nails, is over on my TikTok, I follow more than a few women who rock long fingernails. So if I were to compare, and there are many types of long fingernails, by the way, if I were to compare, I even look at my hand as I'm speaking now and I go, okay, mine's curved this way, mine's do that. I know that I don't want mine. I keep cutting mine. I don't want mine to be all the way down. I'm 4'11". I don't want them to be all the way down to the ground because that would put they already can get heavy on me, right? And so with circulation and everything to be considered, I want to be sure that I'm healthy. I don't want these things. Sorry, girls. I don't want my nails to become a problem. How did I come to that conclusion? By comparing or looking at the data is a better way of saying it. Looking at the data, information that I've seen in other nail women and see what they've complained about, see what their issues are, see what is happening with them. And I go and I decide, I'm comparing. Okay, does mine do that? Will mine do that? Could mine do that? Good, bad, ugly. I don't think I want that. You see what I'm saying? Then I come to a conclusion that builds and puts into my bucket so that I'm not thinking about, because if I just start looking at another long nail chick and just keep going, oh my God, hers are so long. Mine will never get that long. Mine will never be as long as hers. Wow, the color on her nails are just popping. Mine will never, you get me? If I get into that thing, I will never look at my left hand and go, Janae, shut up. I'll never be able to look back at myself and see what do I bring to the table as Jelena Nails. What do I bring? Okay, they bring all of that and that's great and that's dandy, but what do I bring? I mentioned this before. I only have my left hand this way. I can't tell you how many men have said, I really don't want to, I would take you private or I spend money on you or you would become my nail goddess, but can you please I had one guy years ago in Cape Town, right? Years ago, this guy loved to watch me eat mukbang, right? He loved to watch me eat barbecue. It's just what it was, y'all. But he prayed. He was like, please just put the same length of your nails on the right hand. He wanted it to be even Steven. I tried one good time and I didn't like how it felt. I didn't even like the way it looked, if I'm being honest, because I like my style and I like versatility. I like when a new trend comes out in the nail community, I can try it on my right hand, right? I like the switch up. I could be mismatchy. That's who I am in the business. So the men that know it, they know it. Other people that don't, that's fine. So my point is this, I only compare to get data for myself. That's the only time. Thank you guys for the love. That's the only time I compare, right? In fact, I'll go here for my webcam models. I'm known as a bushy girl in the community. What does that mean, bushy girl? That I'm hairy. I don't shave anywhere. However, I used to be bushier and I miss it. I'm gonna tell you why. Because as you get older, your hair thins in all areas. I'm like, Lord, please say it. But anyway, so there was a moment in the industry where I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to make as much money as I used to with my armpits because my armpits aren't as hairy as what they used to be. Remember, you guys, as a sidebar, I'm a fetishist, but I like the fun stuff. To me, this is the fun stuff, y'all. Okay. And so if you wonder, okay, well, how do you not stay explicit? I show my armpits. That's how. Anyway, so I saw that to say, I remember, was it last week? I had a guy, because I forgot I have my tip menu. I think my tip menu is like 50 tokens to show armpits. I think that's what it is, because I think they're so sacred to me, y'all. So anyway, 50 tokens. And when I lift up my arms in the camera, I can, now he may not be able to see it. He may just simply go, okay, she just doesn't shave. But when I look at my armpits, I go, damn, it used to be nice and full and like, you know, a 1980s vintage style armpit. And now I got this freaking, like, what the hell is this? This is me comparing myself to who? My old self. If you're going to compare yourself really deeply to anybody, if you're going to be jealous of anybody, be jealous of yourself. Oh my God, I'm so jealous of my younger armpits. I swear to God, I am so jealous of what I used to bring to the table, man, with my armpits. But anyway, little cam girl, more than a little bit of cam girl humor. But I say that to say is that you have to be so you just have to be so okay with being you and take everything that is uniquely made. I don't know how many times I got to say, I guess it's the whole theme of this weekend. Whatever is uniquely yours, embrace it, because I can guarantee you, as well as I'm sitting at this kitchen table, there will be more than a few, not just about getting paid for it, cam model, but that truly can say these words. Wow, where have you been all my life? You know, I've been looking for a girl like you. I've been looking for a girl like you to come into my life. If you know, you know, y'all. Anyway, so keep in mind, you guys, I do have a Cam Girl playlist that's private. I think I'm gonna make it public so you guys can see all the beautiful. I have an AI playlist and I have a regular playlist of music that I use right before I get warmed up to Cam. You know, and I will hopefully this week can be able to come and share that with you guys. But again, you know, what is it that why is this turning y'all on? That's all I can say. You're sitting there, you're scrolling, you're comparing, and then I got to make it personal. When I'm sitting and scrolling, what do I feel? And the truth is, even if it's on a similar topic of what I do, I don't really feel no kind of way about it, because you know why? I also understand that person is only telling that, especially if it comes to a certain topic, they're only speaking it from a place of their experience, right? Like they're only speaking it from a place of their own experience, even if it sounds similar. There are many people that I follow on right here at YouTube that I listen to. Let's just say them talking about not webcamming, but let's just use Pretty Girl, whatever. There's a lot of content creators that talk about pretty girl problems and this, that, and the other. And then there's so many layers to it that you can go from. You know, when you talk about webcamming, and I will say this, I just feel this in my spirit to say this to the webcam models that are just now starting out. Guess what? It's not too early for you to start making your own content if you want to. You know, you could easily log in to, I mean, that's kind of where I didn't wait till I was in it 5 years before I started making videos. No, you can easily be like, you know, hey guys, I just started. I'm a newbie at this. This is what you can say. You follow me or follow whoever you follow. And you're like, I'm just in it. If you have any tips for me, or you can say, this is what I've learned. You can make it completely where it's just, do I dare say, all about you. You don't have to add nobody else to the mix. You can just say, guys, this is what I'm wearing. This is the outfit of the day. Wish me luck. It's my second day on, you know, and I'm sure there's more cam models that do that. But for whoever needs to hear it right now, you don't have to. Let me say it this way. A lot of what I teach motivates me. How creative can I be? Oh, that's good. Thanks. Topic. I'm so glad I caught it before it disappeared. How creative can you be? Let me write that down. We'll come back to that. Swing it back around to that one. One topic. How creative can you be? You mean so far as like regarding limitations, how creative you can be? Is that the question? Or like, oh Lord, please don't let me confuse myself. Wait a minute. Because you said, how creative can you be? Like, you mean like tips on like what you can do? Like you want to know what can you do in your shows to be more creative? Or you meant how creative can you be as it relates to what's the limits? Because you want to get creative, but you have some ideas that might get you banned. Just be different. Okay, different from, okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, right on. Yes. Okay. How creative can you be? Do you want me to answer that now or you want to wait for the video? Well, let's wait for the video because that way it won't get jumbled in the live. I want to do it specifically for you. We'll wait for the video instead. How creative you can be. What's send me another? Yeah, what is this called? What is this called? What's your name? I'm trying to read it. Dang it, it disappears. I gotta fix that. Say something else again so I can see your name so I could add because I don't think the replay is gonna show. I wish it lasted longer. So that way I can I just thought it was an at. Is that Patricia? Okay. So I'll be like, I'm gonna just say like at Patty, okay? So basically, okay, cool. Yeah. So what was I saying? Does that make sense what I'm saying, Patty, though? You guys, if you're listening regarding because I'm looking at the chat now, you guys, regarding comparison yourself and as it relates to cold. Have you had your experiences with cold already, Patty? So you can kind of get a deep dive on it because this stuff is happening in real life. It's not just in the industry, right? And I think that's what I'm really trying to obviously put emphasis here. You know, you are getting something out of it. And the interesting thing is both cam models, right? Myself included, I scroll too, right? We all scroll. We all scroll. Okay, cool. We all do. And I think the only thing that stops me from comparing myself, again, like I said, being unique, understanding who I am, I think too, I don't have no shame. Ooh, this is good. I didn't even have to look at my chat GBT for this one. I don't have absolutely no shame for number one, in this case, being in this business, but I have no shame of where I'm at right now. Like I did the video earlier was about being satisfied with where you're at. Because I'm satisfied with where I'm at right now in this very moment, you know, I truly am. And I'm grateful too. I and I'm aware that more is to come, but even if it doesn't, and I mean that with everything in me, even if I don't get there, and that's not being negative or pessimistic, and that's not even being a realist. That's just simply saying I'm okay. The hell with right where I'm at. Because if I wanted to, I could compare it and go backwards. Like I said, if I'm gonna be jealous, why well, I could be jealous. I can compare myself to the old me. I can compare and I think that might be in there. Uh-oh. I'm really thinking about it, y'all. It might be right in there. Comparing yourself to others is really comparing yourself of what you used to be, especially if you're older, right? It's in other words, to the older ones over 40 that get jealous of the 20-year-olds, just in case. There are a few, because I can't stand when I see some of those videos and the older women are saying, you know, oh, how could I ever be jealous of the youth? I'm so glad that I've embraced. It happens. We're not going to sit up here and act like older women since the beginning of time have not been jealous of youth. Like really, it does happen. I'm a living, breathing witness. It happens, you know? And so people jealous of children all day long, their potential, their gifts, their talents. You know, it doesn't seem to ease up when people get older. It's still there. If they haven't resolved that spirit that's in them, it just gets better hidden, better dressed up, whatever the case may be, right? But again, when I think about the older woman, and again, I'm 49, if I do compare, there are moments when oh my gosh, a great example. I look at my daughter, right? Beautiful, pretty, cute, sexy, a doll. I call her doll face. She literally looks like a doll to me. You know, like copper colored skin. She's a bit darker than you guys seen her. She is Puerto Rican. She's Boricua. She is my little pride and joy. She is just a doll. I love her so much. Her little braces. She is adorable. Okay. And oh my God, I look at her and I just, like any mother, and I look at her and I go, God, I remember me. I remember me, man. Now we're different. Don't get me wrong, because I was the things she's into now, and I wasn't. You know, I've always been a weirdo. so, but what I'm saying is that her ability to just go out there, dress how she wants to dress with her little itty bitty body. You know, she don't think she goes, when I step out, mom, I step out. I don't care if I'm going downstairs to the freaking mailbox. She is always like, presentable. Get me? And in her own way. And I didn't raise her to, maybe I did raise her to be that way, but I didn't raise her to, and I often have to remind her, daughter, you don't have to put so much weight on yourself to always be top tier. And the reason why I do that, because I don't want her to have pressure on her on the days that she don't feel up to it. You see what I'm saying? And that, in other words, let's say she was married, and I don't want her to feel like, oh, I got to always be pretty, 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 pretty and ready for my husband, because the truth is, you get what I'm saying? Y'all know where I'm going with that without changing the subject too far. But I want her to be confident within it or out of it, is what I'm really saying. And when I think about her, it's just this place of remembering myself. Remembering, I think when older women really look at younger women, they're looking at the time of their life when they were free. I remember just being free as my daughter. And I'm gonna give you an example of what I mean by free. And I might have to come back here and do another video on it regarding just the freedom, and I'll be out of here. That freedom comes from when you're older. When I look at my daughter, I go, when I say free, put it this way. My daughter will get in the Uber, go to the club by herself, meet up with her friend. I mean, she's brave. Now, I had my own kind of bravery, and I have a different story because I was a runaway, because things happen. I was in foster care. My daughter wasn't. So there's times where I look at our lives and compare the differences of why my choices probably are what my choices are, my fears even, and hers are not the same, because I built enough security around her in my daughter to where she basically has no fear but the Lord kind of thing. I mean, she uses wisdom, but she doesn't walk in that, oh God, what if somebody snatched me? I had to, it's a different kind of energy. So with that being said, regarding jealousy, and, me and my daughter having to deal with that 3 months ago with the neighbor. And when I say deal with it again, I keep trying to say, I won't give you all the details. I have never known the ugly face of jealousy the way I known it in this last season, mind you, while sitting in my semi-luxury apartment and all that. And you know how my daughter somewhat survived it? Because the jealousy was directed towards my daughter. And mind you, this is an older woman. The woman is around my age. I think she's like 51. I'm 49, and extremely hateful and jealous towards my daughter. I mean, it was a lot that I went through, you guys, to say the least. And to say the least would be saying this. So much so I had to get police reports. Right. That's how bad it got. Did I come here and talk about it? No. Right. So no wonder I haven't been showing up to Cam the way I usually do, because my spirit has been in a different place, right? So I say all that to say I've been able to see it up close and personal, jealousy, not just on me, not just on a sister, but at my daughter. I was a whole nother different person. And I won't get into the details, y'all. Total different person. If it wasn't for my ability to say, okay, I'm going to try every avenue before I come to that avenue, if you know what I mean. So I say all that to say it seems to have ceased. My daughter is safe. We are safe in the name of Jesus. I just had to put that in there. But when I look at jealousy in comparison, what I realized in that situation, that woman was looking at my daughter all along. She had already from the gate already had it out for my daughter. It was so bad to where even the officials or authorities or whoever, everybody said this was nothing more than jealousy. Now, it's funny about court systems and stuff like that. You can't really write that down, right? I mean, you can, but you have to have evidence to back things. You get me? Out of everything that ever happens that we see on social media, right, y'all? And I don't mean to get dark about it, is that a lot of times when people go on these girl trips, as I told my daughter, we not go. If you're going on a girl trip, I'm the only girl that you're going with, and the bestie that you had since you guys were like in junior high, and that relationship has not changed. It's changed naturally because they're older now, but it's never been a place where they never sensed hatred. You get what I'm saying? Genuine bestie. And my daughter's bestie my daughter's Puerto Rican. My daughter's bestie is Indonesian. I think that plays a role, because when you're from different cultures, you more learning about each other than you are competing with each other, if that makes sense, y'all. So I say all that to say, I won't go there. But anyway, I say all that to say this, jealousy is something, comparing yourself to others, when all you got to do is look back on yourself. And I'm going to tell you right now, being obviously, as you guys know, webcam model, being a pretty girl, there's other pretty cam models. Me being an exotic woman, there's other exotic models, right? But there is only one Jelena Nails. I don't give a damn how close it looks like it is, that it's not. And you have to be confident in knowing. And then on top of it, remember this, y'all, in closing, nobody is stealing your stuff. Like from the movie The Mac, for those that are familiar, remember when he told his brother, nobody's taking me out of my business. Oh, the irony, because it was about being a 304 and being a, a PINP. But but he says, nobody's taking me out of my business. And it's so important for you to understand nobody can take your stuff from you. What happens is that you put a pause on your life by yourself. Nobody pushed that pause button but you. When you're scrolling, you're doing that. That's your finger. And some might argue that when it comes to conspiracy theories, they make these apps so that you can become addicted and all you do is scroll. Well, if you're going to scroll with the things that make you happy. I mean, genuinely happy, right? Scroll. If you're going to do it, find the thing. That's why my whole algorithm, as I said earlier, my whole algorithm got a whole bunch of stuff that don't even match. 1 minute you see me, my history look like I'm way over here. I'm looking at Thailand. And then you go over here and I'm looking at how to crochet something, whatever. Then I'm looking at luxury. And then I'm looking at, 304 is down out here in California on Figure War, Street, if the Blade. Then I'm looking at, anything that intrigued me, how to fix stuff. Then I'm looking at balloons because I like balloons because I have a neurodivergent brain. So I'm drawn to puppets. I got Muppets and puppets in my algorithm because I love seeing people do like Muppet and puppet shows. I just do. That's a little secret hidden gem of mine. But people that know me up close and personal, my daughter included, I love things that make me laugh and giggle. And I love cartoons. I got Bionic Woman and all on YouTube, all in my algorithm. I got He-Man. I got not She-Ra, just She-Ra 7. I got She-Ra. I got Scooby-Doo. I got jazz. I got Snoopy jazz. I got a plethora of things that I'm into. I got finances. I got financial wealth, all in what drives my attention. If you understand what I'm saying. Okay, not just webcam modeling. I am into a lot of things. I just pray that a lot of things don't be into me. You get me? For real. That when I open these portals, that I can close them. I'm not interested in that no more. Right? The things that draw me. I got sign language because you guys know, for those that don't know, I am practicing that. Continue to practice that. I got passport info. I got so many things. And if God say the same, and I know I can't do it all at once and do it all in one, but a little bit at a time. And this was all in the making since a child, right? So when you think about your life, you guys, webcam models, of course, when you think about your goals and your own personal accomplishments, you don't even have time to compare yourself to nobody else unless it turns you on. If that's feeding your bucket, then there it is. I keep saying that. But if it's not, look at all of the stuff that's in your history on your phone, and then take a deep dive. Do you like documentaries? Are you like, I got acting. I'm gonna be starting my theater class soon. I got a whole lot of, I'm out here in California. There is so much I can do to keep myself busy instead of looking at somebody else. I'm learning how to maybe I still watch nail videos because I'll go back and learn certain tips and tricks on how to, lay my acrylic. I have not arrived. I'm still a student. I look at a lot. I take in a lot. Like a lot of young folks, I take in a whole lot. And then I decide, what do I want to look at today? Not what I want to be, what I want to look at today. Like all day today, I've just been listening to jazz on YouTube, just smooth jazz. All no rap, no hip hop, no oldies, no nothing. Just smooth jazz all the way through. Why? Because that's the type of vibe I'm in. I'm in this, summer breeze. This is my second live. This Friday has been kind of I don't want to say a lazy Friday, but it's been like, you know what? I have no worries. Whatever comes to my mind, I'm going to record it. I'm going to hop on, and then I'm going to get in the groove. Because again, I realize this is our lives, y'all, right? And we only get one in this realm. And why waste it sitting up and comparing yourself to other people? Because you will not, unless you don't want a life. If you really just don't want a life and you really already given up, then you'll keep on doing what you're doing. Because that's what eventually will happen. Even for me, I had to learn, God, I'm such a talker. I was like, man, I'm so talkative. This gotta make sense somewhere with all this long-windedness of mine. Okay. So I have to be mindful. Okay. You did these lives or whatever. I can go on and on and on. But what was the goal? It's the weekend. Today's Friday. I do plan on camming. Will cam when? Whenever I feel like it. Right? because I already am confident in knowing the right man will come along, the right client will come along. I can't blame nobody else but myself if it doesn't come to pass. And I don't put a lot of emphasis on blame, but you get me. So again, you have your own life to live. You truly do. You truly, truly do. I will do that video for you, Patty. It'll probably be tomorrow, of course. And I'm gonna go. What do I can do? Speaking of ice cream, I got ice cream. I got me some Haagen Dazs. Yeah, the little. I like the little mini ones. And everything is good. It really is. It just sickens me sometimes to just know it is. Okay, before I get out of here, I gotta say this. I can admit there has been times I have scrolled and I've looked, and I've seen people that remind me of me, you know. And I'll give you an example. Shira Seven, when she first started out, which was many, many moons, I think back in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. That's when I started watching her. Maybe she started out early. I think we started out at the same time. And I never compared followers. I could never compare my follow count to hers because the truth about Shira Seven is she kept going. But I will say this: there is a part of me where I do feel a sense of inadequacy. I won't say jealousy towards certain content creators or people, is when I look at their life and I go, but they have the support though. I used to feel always that's from my childhood. That's something that I got to work through therapy. Is I got to continue to work through the this part where I didn't have a mother, father, or even a husband or a person that supports me good enough or well enough or long enough for me to just follow my dreams. That always kind of stung me. So when I hear people who, let's just say Share Seven, for example, who had a husband who provided, or who was already set before she got started, things like that, I don't get jealous at all. In the name of Jesus, I don't. But what I do feel a sting a little bit, because I say, damn, if I would have had that, or if I would have had a mom, or if I would have had a dad or father in my life, maybe my life would have been different. Maybe I would have, and I'll get this feeling of self-pity, right? Now, it doesn't happen often. It's very, when I say every red moon, no, every green moon, not even blue, green moon, it happens. And when those emotions come up in me, even if I'm watching Shira Seven, like for instance, I follow her and I see all of her stuff, I already know Shira Seven is going to talk from a place of getting the bag. Now, she, over the years, her conversation has been more enlightening and changes, but her foundation is getting the bag, unless she's changed that perspective or that point of view. And that's why people are drawn to her. What makes us different is because that's never going to be my perspective. Mine is a coin purse, so to speak. So again, I'm always money second, and everything else. And hers seemed to be money first, everything second, right? In the approach. And so some people can gravitate to it. I couldn't. There was a time where I set up under Shira Seven, if you will, as a student. I mean, not taking any of her classroom. I mean, watching her videos, especially during the pandemic. And I was like, okay, no, right before the pandemic, actually. And I was like, okay, I get it. And I understood it. And what I like about her more than what she promotes is the fact that she too has a witchy side to her. And I remember the judgment that came towards her because she do practice her own spiritual practices. But I believe because of her spiritual practices is why she's who she is, because whatever you believe in and whatever you put your attention to will come about. She didn't just come out of nowhere. She had to do the work, even though it may not look like work. And that's what helped me, was understanding, yeah, she may have had a husband. She may have had the support. She may have had the room to do it, so to speak, literal, even the house to do it when I was homeless. But the truth of the matter is I compared, and then I got out of there and got busy. And I realized that me and Shira Seven are nowhere near necessarily alike, right? We're not alike. And what I really understood is that she reminds me more so of the older women that I dealt with in my younger years, who were about, for instance, I'm out here in California, again, near Beverly Hills. Shira Seven is I'm gonna go here. This is just my take on it. Beverly Hills, she's not even all that bougie. She's very down to earth. That's what I like about her too. But what I'm saying is that she has her own lane, and she's made it beautifully for herself, right? Whether people agree with her or not. But my point is that when I think about, there were moments where I thought, oh, I could be similar to her if I had the support. But the truth is, we don't think the same as it relates to our persona and what type of audience we wanted. So what am I really saying? That's what I always say. When you think about what you really want and who you really are, that's what it boils down to. You'll stop comparing yourself to the extent when you really are grateful and you see yourself completely different than the person you're comparing yourself to. When I think about, and closing this out, when I think about the cuckold, now, when I deal with cuckolds in the world of role play and things of that nature, there is a part of me, because of who I am by nature, I do want to encourage them and say, but you don't have to feel like that. There is a woman out there that will love you and your itty bitty witty just the way you are. Like you're so adorable, like all that, right? I could really, or simply put, encourage them and say, you know what? You don't have to be 6 feet. If you're 5'4", it's okay. You can be a scrawny, the nature of me would encourage the socks off of a cuckold. But again, this is role play and fantasy when you talk about, the world of webcam modeling. So I give him what he wants, right? That kind of thing. But the point of it is that if he would embrace himself and say, you know what? I mean, how many, this is a good one. How many men do I know, and we know y'all, that they know damn well they don't have it like that. They're not packing like that. The baloney is not slapping like that. They don't, but they carry the persona, and they carry their body, they carry their energy, they carry their demeanor, their aura, everything about them exudes. Oh, I'm a man. I'm a masculine man. I'm an alpha man. I got to go. And they get women, right? They get women. And even with all of that, and as soon as that woman zips down his pants, she may giggle, she may laugh, but right? Then he has to face reality. He has to face the music, as my grandma used to say. But anyway, you guys, I'm out of here. One love kisses. You guys will hear me and see me in the next one. Thank you guys for staying and tuning in with me. But again, I will put this video out there, or this upload. You guys will see the replay. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm not at 500 yet, so that's okay. When I get there, that's when I'll get a little bit like, what do I say? That's when I'll get a little bit anxious, and I'll be like, okay, we're good. You don't have to subscribe no more. But I keep forgetting that the subscriptions help you more than it helped me, in a sense, right, y'all? Because you guys are able to see the latest videos. I don't know if you can see them without subscription. And don't nobody be in the replay telling us, I wonder why she doesn't really want the 500. Is that does she really want it or not want it? And all I'm simply saying is that I'm not here to be popular. I'm gonna be taking a public speaking class, and the truth is, if we're thinking about success, a lot of us don't admit this, and I can admit this. My type of success will never be someone else's, right? And the part where success becomes overwhelming for me, overly responsible, where responsibility or obligation might even come in, I don't want it. I don't want it. I absolutely don't want it. I think what I love about Megan Thee Stallion, and she is an Aquarius too, is that she says in one of her songs, y'all gonna understand that I will make music or drop a song when I feel like it, not for any of you guys' amusement. And I love that line in her song, because it speaks volumes to who I am. And it's not no shock or no, what's it called, shot at toward those that like me. I can't say love me, but who like what I have to offer right here. But what I am saying is that um, when we are doing whatever it is we're doing, and I've had to learn the hard way, you have to learn how to back up sometimes, take a break, don't overdo it. Like today, I feel up to it. I feel good. I feel great. But on the days that I can't, like, in fact, I just got over crazy migraine, crazy headache yesterday. As soon as I came in, was it yesterday? No, Tuesday. And then when I take my medication, so for 2 days, I've had to like, what's it called? That medication puts me down, so to speak. So I'm like, I couldn't give you guys the haul, because when those headaches come, they come. I gotta let them do what they do. I know what it is. I've been getting them since I was 11 years old. Yeah. So for us older folks, or people who have ailments and conditions, even us webcam models, don't push yourself. Like I noticed it now, I can't sit straight through 3 hours of telemarketing. Straight through 3 hours of camming, because I have my hips hurt. My legs will fall asleep, right? It's low blood circulation. I gotta find a different kind of chair to sit in. I gotta throughout the duration of those 3 hours, I go from my desk to the kitchen, to the couch, to the bed, to the bathroom. Why? Because I got to keep moving because I can't sit too long in one place, right? Now, when I was younger, I could, but now that's not so much. So it is what it is, right? But anyway, you guys, bye for now. One love kisses. You guys will hear me or see me in the next one. And thank you so much. You guys are fans. Whoever staying here the longest and just chill with me, like whoever just really hold it down for me. I swear, But I'm glad you're still here because I like to believe I give some value to what you guys need to hear, not just to my webcam models, but even those that are outside of the business. And on that note, I'm out of here. I'm going to go. What am I going to do? What did I eat? Oh, I'm going to have wings tonight. Wings is actually my cam girl signature food for the weekend. Every Saturday, I make wings. So I'm going to make some tonight and then I'll save some for tomorrow's camming or whatever. That is literally how I do things. I'm like, okay, what is my cam girl theme for the weekend or food? I'll be having everything down pack. I'll come back and do another video on that, y'all. But bye for now. Kisses.